What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today this is basically a continuance of the previous video when we pulled in, checking our piping, make sure we're not rubbing, and when I popped the hood there was a whole bunch of oil in the engine bay. And what happened was the main seal, the front main seal, basically took a crap, and I ended up pulling all the front end off of the car last night. I didn't videotape it because I already had it off so many times and you guys saw it on the video, so felt like it was kind of just a waste of time showing this over and over again. But anyway, I ended up pulling this apart last night, which was a Saturday, and today's a Sunday, and I wasn't able to get a seal, but my friend of mine actually had one in his garage, a brand new OEM seal for the 2JZ engine, so he was nice enough to let me get it today and let me use it. But when I went and pulled this apart, this is the seal, this is the front main seal that I replaced when I put the motor together. And this one I believe this is not an OEM one. I believe this is just an aftermarket seal that I might have purchased from like Rock Auto or something. I'm not really sure where I got it, but it looks a lot skinnier than the OEM seal. If you look at this one and then you compare it to OEM, look the difference of how thick it is. And actually I didn't measure them. So basically the aftermarket seal, this is in inches, so this one is kind of a quarter, just about a quarter right here, and the OEM one is a little thicker, so basically 0.3, just about 0.3 right there. I don't know if the camera's focusing good enough. So anyway, and I believe that's why it failed. I mean, it is a fresh seal and it should have lasted for a little bit longer, but it did not. It kind of took a crap very soon after the engine build. So the point is, don't buy aftermarket seals for your motor. Buy the OEM stuff. I don't know if I was in a hurry or what I was thinking, but I ended up going with the cheaper one. So anyway, now we're gonna pack this guy up with some little bit of grease on the inside into this groove and get it installed, and then start reassembling the front end. And hopefully that is it. That's where our problem was at, because when I went in to pop this one off, it basically just fell out and it kind of separated from the crank. I don't know if the rubber around it expanded where it got so loose, or maybe on the outside, I'm not sure, but this is crap. Don't buy it. Anyway, let's pack this in and let's get it installed. So whenever you're doing this, you just basically want, make sure your grease is clean though, you just want to pack a little bit of seal, bearing seal, grease or something, whatever you have. I used Vaseline before, and we're just gonna pack this down. Alright guys, so this is nicely packed right there with some grease, and we're just gonna give it a little nice thin layer of lube on the outside right over here, so hopefully it slips in nice and easy for us, and a little bit on the inside. I went ahead and cleaned everything out right here, so this is all clean, no more oil. Basically all this was covered in oil right over here, and it is not that. I did check it, there was no oil coming out of here. It was just basically splattering up and around and then dripping out of the bottom right here. And then when it was getting onto the crank, it was getting onto the belt and then spraying all over the engine bay. So let me get that in. We're just gonna kind of slip that on there, and I'm gonna get a socket that's big enough. I'm gonna need two hands for this one because I don't want to mess it up So I'm gonna get a bigger socket and kind of just tap it in slightly with a hammer. All right guys, so this thing just went in nice and easy with the grease on it. I didn't have to tap it in. I was able to push this in with my fingers, and it's nice and flush all the way around. And now I'm gonna clean off this excess grease, and we're gonna give this thing just a slight coat of gas maker around it, just to help it stay. Alright guys, so I have this Toyota sealant right over here. So we're gonna use just a slight coat all the way around. Alright, and there we are, guys. Here is the new seal installed. So we'll put a little coat of Toyota sealant just around here, just to make it stay in place, and nothing extra. Wiped off all the extras out. I still got a little bit right there I gotta get out, but that is it. Hopefully our issue is solved. So I'm gonna go and install my crank pulley, and then get my belt back on, and we're gonna start reassembling everything back together. Alright guys, I just got my belt on, and I just want to point out to you, whenever you do remove the belt for whatever reason, make sure you guys mark your belt, whatever tooth it was on or whatever, at the bottom and the top, just so you don't throw your timing off when you go back together. So I did make a couple markings. I made some here, and I made mine at 12 o'clock, and there's a little nipple or dimples right over here on your cover, and then you can line up, you can actually turn your crank and line up your marks on your pulleys and mark there's a little dimple here, right over here, and there's one on your, mine's actually right there, whatever I had the mark is. But you can rotate your crank and rotate your motor, but you have to pull your spark plugs out so you can actually rotate it, otherwise you won't be able to do it. You can either line up that way and put your motor atop that center with the cylinder 1 and 6. I believe it's going to line up first, and that's where these, or you can just mark them and put them back where you found them, just so the timing stays the same. So I did mark mine, so I just put them exactly where it was. And for your tensioner, in case you guys don't know, there's a little hole right over here, and you can put a pry bar on here whenever you guys are removing it, and compress this tensioner and actually get a small Allen key and shove it in the hole, and it will hold your tensioner in place while you're doing all the work. And once you're done, just put a little bit of pressure on here with a a big wrench or a crowbar or something, and yank your Allen key or pin, whatever you guys are using, and it'll tension your timing chain back up. Boys, just a quick update. We are almost, we're halfway put back together. So the front end's assembled, everything's on the car. Basically the serpentine belt is on, so all is left is the front clip, radiator, piping, intercooler, all that good stuff, which should not take too long. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that installed, and then we're gonna bleed our coolant system for like a million times that I had this thing apart, and go for a drive and keep our fingers crossed. So let me get that on, and we'll test it out. All right boys, there she is, all put back together. Obviously I already bled the coolant system, so I did have it running. There was no leaks. Keeping my fingers crossed, because we're about to go for a ride right now and make sure nothing else is leaking, and make sure that seal is good under load. And then once we come back, I'm going to check on it real quick. So let me move these cars behind out in the driveway and we're gonna go for a ride. All right, boys, we just came back. I went under the car and looked at the main seal. It looks super dry. Nothing, no issues there. But we do have something else that is dripping down, and it looks like it might be coming from the power steering pump, but all the fittings are dry. So I'm not really sure at this moment what it is. I'm gonna have to investigate. Sucks that is not the only leak. There's more problems, but what are you gonna do? We're just gonna have to find it and take care of this. It is a new day, guys. So I did look into the leak, and it was a power steering pump, and it was leaking right behind the pulley where your main seal is. So I went ahead and picked up a new pump. And if you guys want to know, this is the seal where it was leaking from, right over here. So today we're gonna have to go ahead and replace this pump, and it kind of sucks because I just put the front and back together, and I'm gonna have to kind of pull it back out just because the bolts, the mounting bolts that go through your to your engine or to the bracket, they're too long. I don't have enough room up front to pull the bolt out. If I had another 1/4 inch, I wouldn't have to do this. I just tried, and I'll show you what I tried doing. So I tried removing it. So I pulled the serpentine bolt and loosened up the pulley, and I have this bolt, but it's hitting the radiator just enough where I can't get this out, which just sucks. But oh well. So what my plan is basically just remove my intercooler and kind of just loosen up the front end and lean the whole thing forward just a little bit so I can get that out. That way I'll be able to get enough access to pull those I believe it's 3 bolts, and we can pull the pump out, and then we'll swap everything over. So basically what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to loosen up this front end and try to get it off as quickly as possible, because I am trying to get this car back on the road. As you all know, I did tell you before, we are trying to go out to a drift track. It is only 2 days away, and trying to get ready for this. So the pump is really the only thing that's holding us back right now from making that event. So I'm going to try to get this done as quickly as possible. And I did get 4 tires. So there's 4 tires right over here, ready to rock and roll. I just got to wash them, and I'm going to have to clean these up a little bit. These are from our other Z, and they're a little beat up. So let me get this front end loosened up and pull this pump out, and we'll transfer everything over. All right, boys, it's out. Didn't have to take much apart, which is cool. Just a little bit in the cooler and loosen up a few bolts on the core support, and I only had to move it probably less than a 1/4 inch to get those bolts out to get the pump. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to shave the bolts for the pump just a little bit, so I don't have to, if that happens again, hopefully not, I don't have to pull the core support back out. Those bolts are just going to be a hair shorter. So here it is. There, that's the seal that took a crap, and that was going onto the pulley. That's how I found it. The bottom of the pulley had a puddle, and it is all out. I removed the reservoir, and we have some new O-rings here and some crush washers, which I'm not using any crush washers. I'm just using a new O-ring for our reservoir right over here. And then this is the fitting for my pressure line, that B-nut that goes to the steering rack. So I'm going to transfer this over here, put a new O-ring on, put the reservoir back onto the new pump, and then pulley back on, and then we can get it all taken care of and reinstalled. All right, quick update. So during the transfer of this fitting, I just want to point this out, so just in case if somebody runs into this issue. So I was trying to transfer over this fitting for your pressure side, and this one, when I was putting it in, it wouldn't go and tighten down all the way. The washer would still be wobbling. So I was trying to look inside of these to see what the difference was, and basically if you look inside the original one, they're just kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can. You see how the one on the left, it has a little ring. There's like a step up and a step down right in the middle, right there. And this one doesn't have it. It's just flat across the bottom. So whenever you're actually trying to put this down, that step up goes inside this hole, and it gives you enough room to tighten this down with no problems. And this one is not like that. So once you tighten this one, the washer is still wobbling around. Looking at these, they look pretty similar, except there are additional holes on my original one that just crapped out. There's holes right here on the side. I'm trying to get this focused right here, and this one doesn't have it. So I don't know if that's anything I need to be worried about, but I'm gonna go ahead for now and put this one in. So this is from my original pump, and test it out just to see, make sure everything works fine, and hold on to this one for a little bit, just in case something happens. But I could shave this fitting down and it'll go on, but I think I'm just gonna swap them. I think it's easier, and I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. So I already took the O-ring from this one because this guy looked pretty crusty, and we're gonna go ahead and assemble this now. All right, boys, moment of truth. Here it is. I got that thing installed, and basically can't see it, but I'll just show you. Everything's all good in here. I filled it up. I'm gonna check the fluid one more time before we started, but everything's back together, everything's tight. We just gotta adjust these guys, the hood pins, whenever we finish the job here in a second. So let's fire her up and just make sure nothing leaks. I'm gonna let it idle for a little while, and we'll find out if it works. All right, well, it seems like the leak is gone. We're all good, and she's good to go for a Sunday event. I am kind of happy that it happened here, and I did find this issue because if it happened at the track, we wouldn't have another power steering pump laying around. So I'm thankful that it happened here. It does suck that it did, but oh well, you know, crap happens, so it is what it is. But that is it. All I got to do is just get my hood pins adjusted, which will take a few minutes, and throw the bumper on. So, and then I'm going to start getting ready for Sunday. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button and comment down below, and I'll see you guys Sunday. Take it easy.